Hey everybody, I'm Javier, and I am the Hardcore Herbivore. Last episode we talked about plant-based milks. If you haven't checked that video out, I suggest you do it, and then maybe watch this video. I had a lot of really good feedback about that video. I had some people contact me and tell me that they tried pea milk for the first time, which is really cool. And I really wanted to provide some information and some knowledge to people who maybe hadn't tried it before. So mission accomplished. And this episode, we're going to talk about plant-based cheese, vegan cheese, non-dairy cheese, whatever you want to call it. So a little bit of history. When I was vegan or vegetarian in the 90s, like fake cheese was really shitty. We had veganrella, soyrella. There wasn't a lot of really good options, and therefore it was like hard to get good stuff to eat. I was telling a friend the other day, the sandwich that we used to make was like Wonder Bread, because Wonder Bread was vegan in the 90s too. Wonder Bread, Veganaise, barbecue potato chips, and like bacon bits, and then maybe some veganrella, or like veganrella and sunflower sprouts. It just wasn't good. Like, you didn't really hear about people having good grilled cheeses and stuff like that. But now in 2020, there's been so many advancements in technology and food science that we have a lot of really good options. So in this episode, I'm going to show you 2 of the main kinds of plant-based cheese, and then I'm going to do something that I wasn't really sure that I was going to do with this channel, but I'm going to show you how I make my cashew cheese sauce and tell you about some really good uses for that. So I guess there's 2 types of plant-based cheeses. There's nut cheese, which I think is the fucking like worst, shittiest, grossest like explanation of it, but whatever. Nut cheese. And then nut-free cheese. So nut cheese you would have based on cashews, almonds, I guess maybe peanuts, macadamia nuts. But unfortunately, a lot of people can't eat that because of something that I talked about in my milk video, which is allergies. So then the alternative to that would be non-nut based or nut-free cheeses. Now, another good thing for some people is that some of these cheeses are also soy-free. So you have a company like Violife where it's dairy-free, soy-free, nut-free, gluten-free, all the frees. And that makes it a really good option for people who maybe aren't even vegan. Maybe they're lactose intolerant, and then they can't have almond cheese, so then they want to feel normal. And so then they use Violife. I have some Violife slices right here, and this is kind of our go-to for making like grilled cheese or to put on top of a Beyond Burger or something like that. The slices, you know, it's got that normal like American cheese quality to it, where it's like maybe a cheese product and not necessarily even cheese. Honestly, you can eat these like straight out the package. They melt really well, and I couldn't really figure out why. There's not a lot of information on YouTube or on the internet about how these types of cheeses are produced. So, you know, just in looking at the ingredients, the first ingredient is water, second ingredient is coconut oil. So if you think about a jar of coconut oil, when it's cold, it's like hardened, and then you put it in the pan, and what happens to it? It melts. So that's gonna kind of be the same thing like this. A lot of these cheeses, like Violife and Follow Your Heart, they are oil-based. There's oil, coconut oil, palm oil, there's like potato starch, and you know, they use their food science or their technology or whatever to put this stuff all together, and then because it's oil-based, once it heats up, it melts. Now, this could be seen as a negative for a lot of people because they're trying to cut down on their oils, but remember, just because it has oil, it doesn't have cholesterol. You know, there are of course some things that you might want to avoid based on your health, but overall. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of background about my cashew cheese sauce. I found the recipe originally on Pinterest. Pinterest is an amazing resource for learning how to cook. There's so many vegan recipes and stuff on there. And one day I just found this recipe for this ooey gooey cashew vegan mozzarella, And I made it so many times that now it's just committed to memory and I don't even need to look it up anymore. So what you're gonna need to make this is cashews, nutritional yeast, tapioca starch or arrowroot powder, a little bit of apple cider vinegar, maybe some lemon or lime, and if you want, some soy sauce. Those are like the basic ingredients, and every single one of those has a hand in the creation of the cheese. And what I use it for usually is like enchiladas. I make this like burger helper, this hamburger helper stuff where it's like a cheese sauce and a red sauce to go with pasta and Beyond Beef. My kids love it. It's actually really good. And then for nachos, and so it's really runny, or not runny, but it's gooey, it's stretchy, it's not solid. I've never tried to make it solid by putting it in the fridge and make it into like a wheel or something like that. So let's get to this recipe. I hope you like it, and let me know in the comments what you think. Okay, so here's what you're gonna need for your cashew cheese sauce. I already said you're gonna need cashews. I like to use unsalted. You're gonna need tapioca starch or arrowroot powder. I get this at the Asian market. It's pretty easy to procure. Apple cider vinegar. I like to use organic, because why the fuck not? And these lemons that I got off the fucking lemon tree in the back. Pretty cool. And then you're gonna need like measuring spoons and all that. And I forgot to put in this little clip nutritional yeast, but that is a must. All right, listen up. It's my recommendation that if you want to be a good cook, you need to have a good apron. I got this one from my friends, the Garcias. Shout out to the Garcias. And it just lets everyone know, like, fuck off. I try to use unsalted cashews, but you can use salted if you want. It doesn't really matter. You can always add salt later. I put half a cup of cashews, raw cashews in there. And then to that, I will add 1 cup of boiling water. You can use regular water if you want. You just have to let it sit longer. But if you use boiling water, you know, you could get away with letting it sit for about 1 hour. 1 hour later. So I'm gonna add almost a 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast to this after it's been sat for about an hour. Nutritional yeast is really good for you. It's high in B vitamins, it's high in fiber, it's high in potassium, and it's just a great way to, you know, add a cheesy flavor to things. The lemon and the apple cider vinegar go into this recipe to brighten it up, you know, add a little bit of freshness. Apple cider vinegar is also really good for you, so it's kind of like, what's the harm? Put about a teaspoon in there and it works great. Now, I think one of the most important aspects of this is the tapioca starch. I'm adding 2 tablespoons and 2 teaspoons to this recipe, and that's really what's gonna bind it. I prefer tapioca starch also because it's way cheaper than arrowroot powder. You'll find out for yourself eventually. Put this all in the NutriBullet, blend it super high, and put the saucepan on medium, add a little bit of coconut oil spray, and then just pour that on in there while it's ready to heat up. You can use a whisk, or you can use like this fancy plastic spatula thingy to fucking stir it around, whatever you want. I'll usually start with the whisk just to start breaking it up, and then I'll switch over to the plastic spatula once I see that it's starting to get thick. You really want to keep an eye on it. You can't just walk away from this. You have to make sure that it gets to the right consistency, because this will happen real quick. Stir it around and it looks like it's ready to go. I also made a pot of beans and put it on some of my favorite tortilla chips. And now I'm gonna put this ooey gooey cheese sauce straight on top. You can see it's still hot. Some fucking nachos, delicious. I'm gonna grab this Valentina's hot sauce. It's one of my favorite Mexican hot sauces right now. Highly recommend it. And this company called Wonder Dust makes flavored nutritional yeast. I believe they're Hardcore Kids also. And there you have it, ready to eat. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen today. I wasn't expecting to turn this channel into like a cooking thing, as I said, but here we are. If you have any questions about my cheese recipe, please feel free to leave them below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, the hardcoreherbivore.108, and check out the merch we have at contrabandgoods.com. You know what would be cool too is like leave a message, leave a comment, and like let me know what you want to see next, because I'm running out of ideas already. So talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.